Thank you all for joining our panel discussion today on fiber solutions for next-gen broadband with viaPhoton. Here to speak today from viaPhoton is VP of Sales Keith Hyde, and presenting from Winncom Technologies, our fiber product manager, Alex Cernick. If anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to add them into the chat. They'll be addressed at the end of the discussion. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you very much for the fantastic introduction. And then for those of you who are joining, again, welcome and thank you for coming to another Winncom panel discussion. We have a fantastic panel in front of you today. We've got Keith from viaPhoton. Today, as topics, we're going to cover a couple of things. One, we're going to talk about fiber solutions and broadband connectivity and how that correlates to Tarana Wireless. In particular with hybrid fiber enclosures. We're going to talk about the tower deployment tools and network planning tools that we have at our fingertips. We're going to talk about the strategy of WISP migration to fiber that we're seeing as an ongoing trend. And then we're going to kind of end this with next generation fiber solutions and a forward-looking glance at some of the industry trends that we're seeing happen or come to the forefront. So we'll start this off. We'll hit the ball in viaPhoton's court. So Keith, question for you is how does viaPhoton's customizable fiber solutions enhance broadband connectivity for our WISP partners and our service provider partners?
Hi. Well, thanks, Alex, and welcome everyone. And thanks for having me on here today. This is going to be fun, so I appreciate it. So to answer your question, our customizable solutions enhance broadband connectivity for WISP and service providers by offering a flexible, scalable, and rapidly deployable quality of products. We do this in a couple of ways. One is by offering tailored or customized solutions. We can provide customized fiber assemblies, enclosures, and optical solutions that meet the ever-changing needs of the WISP and the service providers. As you well know, things change a lot. In fact, our digital team has done a fabulous job on creating a top-of-the-line visual online configurator tool that allows our customers the ability to create a part in a matter of a few seconds that not only gives them the part number, but also the image and a spec sheet that they can then order or request pricing from their distributor of choice. So it makes life a little easier, so that making things quicker for them. Nice. Next is our rapid deployment. Go ahead.
So quick question, for those customizable solutions, are you getting into private labeling as well?
Yes and no. It is possible. We have some that we do private labeling for, some that we don't. It just depends, and every application is a little different. You know, we are a forward-thinking company here, and we really do a lot for our customers, our distributors, that might be different than the past lives, should I say. We always try to make things easier, and so doing that, that's kind of why some of these tools we've done, we make it easier for the end user, not only for them but also for ourselves, so that we can get products out quicker.
Excellent.
Okay. Next is kind of our rapid deployment. You know, we're a forward-thinking company, so we have automation-driven manufacturing in US. Which helps our capabilities and significantly reduces the lead times allowed that our customers are trying to avoid. You know, in today's world, lead time and everything is now. So we try to do the best we can by giving the tool sets, like I said earlier, that help to cut those back. But we also use innovation tools internally so that we can help produce the product at a quicker and more precise speed. The others are just enhanced reliability. We use high-end quality materials with precision engineered fiber connectivity products, which minimize signal loss, which is very important when you're talking about fiber. It also improves the network reliability and ensures better performance for the end users when they're turning things up. Then there's the cost efficiency. So by being modular and pre-terminated fiber solutions, which we do in-house, it saves time for the end users. So they don't have to do any crazy testing in the field or termination in the field, and they can get products that they know that are going to pass inspections when they need it out there. Hopefully that answers the question you'd addressed there.
I think it does it perfectly, and kind of leads into my next one. I get a lot of requests for government programs. Right now, the biggest leader is BEAD with BABA certifications. We're also seeing tribal connectivity, volume 1, volume 2 requests. We're starting to see some RDOF requests. Even had one the other day. It was an education request for a local municipality. But what we're seeing with all those, the commonality is they're embracing those BABA certification, BABA exemption type of rules. How does viaPhoton solutions align with that Build America, Buy America, BABA compliance? And why is that really important for service providers?
Well, thanks for asking. We are based in Aurora, Illinois. And for those that are interested, we are actually moving to a much larger facility here in the next few months because of capacity and also for keeping things here in the States to help with BABA. So majority of what we build today for the WISP and service providers is all manufactured in Aurora, Illinois. So that we do this on purpose so that our end customers don't have to really think about it or worry about it, to where if they're getting something, is it going to be and qualify for BABA? Now, not saying we don't produce things elsewhere, we do, but for a whole different side of our house. But it's not for anything for the WISP and service providers. And the reason why is any business, you have to be competitive in certain product lines, right? So that's why those are there. But to satisfy BABA, we make sure that everything we do for them is going to qualify. This will help them when they're going out and getting that funding that is required for their installations. And like you said, you're getting calls for it every day. I get the same thing. Customers are calling me, hey, Keith, is your stuff, where's it made? That is, not even ask Bob, just where is it made? So now, not only is it made there, but we also have to source products, right? So we have to source products that are inside the States as well, and we do. I would say for the WISP wise, like I said, there's one solution that we're working on that we might be bringing to the WISP, but we're trying to figure out how to do this here cost effective wise to make it BABA, but nothing else they need to worry about when they order from us, if it's BABA or not.
That's fantastic. And that's part of our collective values. If you're looking at one of those vehicles, we'll provide you with all the compliance information. So as you're filling out these grant applications, you're going to have all the information at your fingertips.
Yep.
Fantastic. So kind of transitioning to a product perspective, how does your outdoor hybrid enclosure optimize the performance when working in parallel to a Tarana Wireless G1 platform?
Cool. Well, thanks. This is fun. I've lived this for a couple of years and I love it. So I wouldn't say our product optimized anything Tarana-wise, because Tarana doesn't need any help there. They do a wonderful job. What we do optimize is connectivity. So connectivity from the ground all the way up to the top of the tower to the G1, for helping installation processes for the installers. I come from a world, a macro world, so things have changed for the WISP internally on how they're installing things on the tower. They've got to move away from category cable to higher power, more fiber, things they weren't too familiar with in the past. So we are there to help them with that. And our enclosures, and we're going to talk some more, I think, about this in another question you ask in a minute, but our enclosures help with enhancing that. So we give efficiency for surge protection that is needed at the top of the towers, because Mother Nature is not nice to a big stick or metal sticking up in the air. And we help protect that equipment, the G1 being in particular in this case. But that efficiency is done by those two hybrid trunk as well as an OHE connected from bottom to top. So it's a much cleaner install.
Okay. So why is that why is that enclosure with that hybrid cable that you mentioned more efficient solution that allows for expansion?
Well, let's talk about a few things. First, it makes the installation cleaner. So instead of going to the tower and seeing a whole bunch of cables running everywhere, you can have a hybrid. So for example, one of our hybrid cables can replace multiple discrete power and fiber cables in one run up the pole. This requires only one pull up the tower, which can result in less hangers needed, less installation time overall. Also, all our hybrids are shielded and underneath the jacket, which people say, well, that's great, but why? Was it important? It wasn't matter. Well, it also helps prevent from birds and rodent bites that are happening. I know that people have heard of something, they've gone to the site and there's a cable cut. Well, most of the time that's from something chewing through that because that cable wasn't protected with some type of a shielding inside of it. So all of our hybrids we supply out on site have that in them. The lease, for example, you might, if you don't own your towers, you have to pay lease space, and those companies charge for extra stuff going up the tower. One cable, less lease, and that's not always the case, but it is in some cases. It will save them some money on that.
Nice.
That could be a big deal. Probably the biggest is it's more about future too. So for example, we have a lot of customers who may only be sticking up, let's say they're putting up 2 radios at the top. In this case, we'll talk just day radio. But they know in a year or 2, they're going to have to go back out to that site and install something else on it because capacity, there's going to be another neighborhood built on the other side, and they're going to have to add something to that. Well, when you're pulling a hybrid cable up there, you can go ahead and plan for that because you've got to spend time for that climber to pull and be out there on the site, etc. This will allow them to go ahead and put a hybrid up with more power you need, more fiber in it because it's easy and cheaper to do then. And then when you need to come back at a later date to install another radio top, you're climbing the tower, hanging a radio, and you're plugging it into the top of we call it our OHE box, outdoor higher enclosures, to the top of the tower. Now, some may say, well, that's great. What else can we put in that box? Well, inside of our OHE boxes, we offer up, and they come in multiple ways. There's several ways to slice that OHE box so that you can get it with what you need in it. But we have it with SPDs, so surge protection devices that is required. We could have it without SPDs. We have it with 24 power with just fiber, or vice versa, just fiber, no power. So we can make that box fit that end user's need for the top of the tower. Now, planning ahead, having SPDs in there, having room. I've got some customers who purchased our OHE solution, hung that at the top of the tower, and they've actually stuck more things inside our box. So they needed PoE, they ran off the one leg, they ran PoE converter up the top of the tower, and they have PoE to feed some type of radio they have at the top. So with our OHE enclosure and hybrid, there's multiple things you can do, but the nice part about it is a very clean install. You're running up one cable, you got one box, you break off from that box to your radios at the top of the tower. Whenever you need, they're there for you. Sorry, long answer, but I hope that answered your question.
No, I think that was perfect. And what really resonates with me, and I'm starting to see these types of requests too, are, let's say we have a customer who's not going to apply to BEAD, but they want to use the BEAD information that's listed under the mapping info of where eligible BSL's broadband serviceable locations are for those unserved, underserved residential or commercial sites. So a lot of our customers are using their existing assets. Let's say they've got towers or lease space that covers a portion of a project area. They're using those designated BSLs as a way to target new customers. So for a revenue opportunity. So I love the fact that you can future-proof this solution where in the beginning, maybe as you mentioned, you only need 2 Tarana BNs, but with this solution, instead of running cable up there and running power up, you can just plug in more radios. So I think that's fantastic. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Winncom is a stocking distributor. In addition to that, we've got a really deep engineering team. So if you've got applications like this, we can help you by taking the GPS coordinates for your tower sites, taking the GPS coordinates for those BSL locations where you plug in your RNs and put together heat maps. That way you've got the right expectation of performance, capacity, reliability. And I think it works perfectly with the viaPhoton solution. So that's exciting stuff, Keith. Thank you for sharing.
You're very welcome, and thanks. That was great too. Hey, let me ask you, so what trends is Winncom observing regarding hybrid deployments?
I was really hoping you had a true or false question for me, but this one is pretty varied. Let me take kind of a shot at it. So at Winncom, we're seeing a clear trend really for hybrid deployments, especially in the broadband expansion arena. And that really comes down to some different realities. Demographics plays a huge role in this. Population density plays a gigantic role in terrain. And the key thing, and I think you've talked about that, about your customizable solutions, there's no one size fits all solution. Different environments call for different technologies, different applications, the same exact thing. So to quantify, like in urban environments, in a lot of suburban as well, fiber is usually a go-to because the population density, it justifies the investment. But when you start running into right-of-way challenges, rugged landscapes, high trenching costs, hybrid solutions like combining fiber with fixed wireless, it honestly becomes the smarter and most economical choice. Now, on rural regions, remote regions, high cost areas, fiber alone isn't feasible. So these areas, they have sparser populations, that the terrain, and again, it varies per state, but terrain is rougher in a lot of cases. It's more robust, and that makes fixed wireless not just a complementary option, but sometimes the only viable one. That's where these hybrid deployments, they really shine. In using the right technology in the right place to maximize coverage while keeping costs under control is absolutely critical. So I use this analogy probably too much, but I like to think of it as a toolbox, right?
Yep.
You wouldn't use a wrench when you need a screwdriver. So a broadband deployment works the same way. The key is selecting the most cost-effective, the most scalable solution that aligns, and if you're looking at funding, it needs to align with that state's broadband funding requirements, while ensuring connectivity for every home, every community anchor location within those project areas. So that's where Winncom really comes in. We work with providers to design strategic hybrid deployments that balance that fiber and wireless, and helping you navigate both the technical and the funding challenges. So if you're looking for guidance on the way to optimize your broadband deployments, if it's private equity, if it's BEAD, if it's RDOF or another vehicle, please reach out to us. We've got a program here in place that will help.
Cool.
So from a tower deployment and a network planning perspective, what is viaPhoton and Tarana Wireless's TowerMap Configurator? I hear a lot of great things about that. And how can customers use that to enhance their tower deployments and to help them streamline network planning, and ultimately, right, how do we help them reduce complexity?
Cool. Great question, and I don't know if you have all day, but I could spend all day talking about this one. Several years ago, we partnered up with Tarana to work on a solution to make life easier for, believe it or not, it wasn't necessarily for the end user, it was more for sales folks, distributors, to have access to something that would make sense for a bill of material that they needed to supply to their end users who was getting into the Tarana environments, and programming those sites is not easy, and building bill of materials for sites, things get missed. So once again, our crackpot team out there that designed our other configurator went to task, and they created a tower map. Now, tower map is accessible on your website, so I would love everyone on that's watching today to go at least play with it, see it. It is changing constantly. We're always updating and modifying it, but what it does is it allows a user, a salesperson, whomever, to go to the site and pick and just walk through it, ask you questions. It asks you things, how many radios you're going to have at the top of the tower today or in the future. It asks you what kind of connectivity. What do you want, a box at the top that's got surge protection or not surge protection? Do you want a box at the bottom with surge protection or not surge protection, or a rack mount SP in the bottom? It asks you a million questions, asks you 12 questions, I think it is, to get you to a final solution. And what that's going to do at the end of this it's going to populate a bill of material for you of things that you can do one or two things with. You can hit submit. It's going to come to if you're on the Winncom site, go to the Winncom team. It'll CC me so I can see it and make sure that I reach out to the Winncom team and they're following up. Or you could just download. I tell a lot of customers just hit the print button or download button to Excel. Let's say you've got 20 sites and they're all the same except for a length of the hybrid trunk. They can literally just pull this out and then multiply it and then change all the links multiple times for the hybrid trunk and submit that over to the Winncom salesperson, and they can quote this just in a matter of minutes. So what you're doing is you're saving time, obviously. You're also being accurate, because what else it does is, let's say it calculates for you how many hangers you need. So if you've got a 200-foot run up a tower and it's on a freestanding tower or a guide wire tower, it's going to know you need this hangers and this many, because you're supposed to put them every 3 feet up a tower, and it's going to give you that so that the salesperson or you don't have to really think hard about it. It's going to be right in front of you. You pick monopole, those hangers go away because you're not using those on a monopole. You're using our hoisting grips are not. So you've got things in there that are populated based on the type of tower. So I like to say it's dummy proof, but I've stumped it a couple times myself. But we are always updating it and changing. But I will venture that it's perfect as of what I see today. Now, with that, there are things in there that I just, we modify and add. So when you get your bill of material, you may see something on there that, okay, this is suggested. There's certain things we don't sell, but we have partnered with Tarana, and we have told them that we will make sure that is included in the BOM so it doesn't get overlooked. So we're a good partner. We want to believe that we try to help everyone, and we do. So this is another tool set that does that as well. It'll help your team out, Alex. It helps the end user out, and making sure Tarana understands that we're telling folks with the right product they need to purchase.
I love it. And what's the saying? Practice what you preach. I can tell you, I use this every time we're putting together a proposal for customers, and I like it for two different reasons.
What is it?
One is eco center, right? So I think it's key when we're putting together these solutions. It's not just an active part. We need to provide customers with that A to Z, everything that's going to be included in these deployments at their fingertips. And I like the fact that it helps from a project management perspective, especially if you're talking multiple sites. It keeps you organized. If the sites are the same, as you said, you can multiply them out. There's variances. It allows for that as well. But it's a fantastic tool to make sure that they're getting absolutely everything they need to be successful with these Tarana deployments.
Well, one thing I didn't mention is and I said you could download Excel and you can modify and change the number of. The other thing you can do inside the actual tool itself is, once you come to the BOM, there's a button at the top you just click to go back and do another site. You can go keep doing that, and each site there's a section to name it, so you can physically give it a name. So when you're done, if let's say you did 12 sites, you're going to have 12 BOMs, either on PDF or Excel, whichever you choose, and they're going to be labeled by the name of the site. So that, to me, makes life really easy to go through and populate all that.
Yeah, and I'd say one last thing, at least from my end, is we'll make sure when we do follow-ups with these, you'll get an email, you'll get the video links, you'll get a copy of the slides, but we'll also make sure that we include that hyperlink. That way you can get a chance to go through and play with it. And if you've got any questions, just reach out to us. Both of our information will be provided, and we can certainly walk you through any aspect of the tool. But it is very, very easy to use.
Cool. So let's move into some WISP migration to fiber questions here I have for you. So what key strategies should WISP consider when transitioning from wireless to fiber-based broadband?
It seems like I'm like laying my questions up to you. I get the hard ones.
Yes.
All right, I'll give it a shot. What was the question again? No, I have that. So I would say, to answer your question, for WISP looking to make the move from wireless to fiber, transition isn't just about swapping one for the other, right? One technology for another. It's about strategic planning, and it's about it's about smart execution. So at Winncom, we see that most successful transitions, they focus on a couple really select strategies. First of which is knowing the market. So wireless has been a great tool for reaching underserved areas. But as fiber funding in particular ramps up, understanding where fiber makes sense is really critical, and where a hybrid approach could even be better. So some areas will be primed for fiber, other areas will still benefit from that hybrid mixed strategy. I say the second aspect would be building this in phases. So jumping straight into a full fiber deployment, it can be and is absolutely overwhelming, both financially and logistically. So many WISPs, they start with a fiber backbone, and then they gradually extend fiber deeper into their network while they continue to serve some areas with the fixed wireless service. Now, the phased approach that I'm talking about, it really helps manage costs and helps you to continue to service those existing customers and keep them connected. Third, I'd say leveraging funding opportunities, and that's a huge one right now. And I have to say, I probably spend a majority of my time on that. With programs like BEAD in play, there's billions of dollars available for funding rollouts. And understanding how your state works, how your state's scoring with their rubric, how they're structured with their project areas, it can make all the difference. Fourth, I'd say investing in the right partnerships. So moving to fiber means dealing with new equipment. It means dealing with new vendors, and sometimes, not sometimes, but a completely different skill set than wireless. So working with the right suppliers, ones who know wireless and know fiber, it really can help you streamline the process and help avoid some costly mistakes. And finally, I say don't abandon wireless expertise. A lot of you on the call right now are experts in fixed wireless. You've been doing it for years. So continue to use fixed wireless as a complement to fiber. Continue to use it in areas where fiber doesn't make sense or fiber is not feasible. And again, the trend I'm seeing with a lot of these BEAD applications is using a hybrid approach really can maximize the passing costs. So again, choosing the right product based on the application. And kind of bringing that full circle, Winncom's role here is to make things simple. So to help you navigate the transition, we've got expertise on design, on engineering, on product selection. We've got expertise on funding vehicles and funding strategies. And we can help you build out this roadmap for fiber and provide the right tools to support this hybrid initiatives. And one last thing I would comment on, and I try to say this every panel discussion, especially if you're looking at a funding vehicle, timing is absolutely of the essence. So every state is in a different process. Some are about to go to pre-qualification. Some have already done that, or moving to application wave 1 or application wave 2. The one thing I'd like you to take away from this is if you don't apply for pre-qual, you can't apply for the waves of funding. And it doesn't guarantee that pre-qual will open again. Some states have, majority have not. So the only thing it costs you for not applying would be the opportunity. And I would further comment, what we do really well here at Winncom is make things simple. And we've helped a lot of customers throughout the BEAD application process. Engage us early, engage us quickly, and we can help you with pre-qualification. We can help you with a lot of the compliance aspects of this. And then for cyber security plans, supply chain mitigation plans, all that, we have a plan that can help you streamline the process.
Very good. I have a follow-up.
Sure.
What are the most critical factors for WISP to evaluate when investing in a fiber infrastructure?
So that's another really good question. So I'd say for the WISP looking to invest in fiber, success comes down to making really smart and strategic decisions. Fiber is a gigantic investment. and getting it right means evaluating several key factors upfront. First, understanding market and demand. Just because fiber is the gold standard doesn't mean it's right for every one of these applications. I mentioned previously population density, competition factors into this, long-term revenue potentials. Will the end customers pay for higher speeds? Is there enough demand to justify the costs? These are critical questions that we need to answer before making that leap. Second, I'd say evaluating deployment challenges, and the biggest ones there would be terrain, right-of-way issues, construction costs. They all widely vary. Trenching through rocky areas could be a fantastic example, or crossing waterways. It can really easily drive up expenses for fiber. So in a lot of cases, hybrid approach, again, that's blending fiber with fixed wireless, makes sense. You can do it quicker and you can do it without breaking the bank. And then I like to always come back to BEAD, because BEAD's top of mind for a lot of us. So programs like BEAD are offering billions of dollars in broadband expansion. So securing those funds could make all the difference, especially if you're looking to expand into fiber. So it's not just about applying, it's about structuring your proposal to align with that state scoring rubric, as I mentioned before. And the more strategic that planning, the better the chances are you receiving that funding. And finally, I would say the fourth aspect could be thinking about long-term operations. Fiber is reliable, it's future-proof, but it also comes with a large learning curve. WISPs need to consider staffing, training, the operational side of it. And with Winncom, we can help that with aligning you with the right partners. So not only can we provide the equipment and expertise to deliver those cost-effective fiber networks or fixed wireless networks, we maintain a list of fiber contractors, both regional and national, that can help you with these installations. So if you're new to fiber, we can connect you with the right partner, one that can not only install, but they can maintain these networks. And importantly, they can also guide you throughout that learning process and help you transition. A lot of customers that we've worked with have used these relationships as a key turn to learn, to figure out what equipment goes best with what scenario, and partnering with these contractors to get their team up to speed and certified. That way, maybe the first or second installation they're leveraging these companies, but when they get to the third and fourth, they've got the ability to do this all in-house. And again, our goal at Winncom is to be here with you every step of the way to make this journey simpler, whether it's helping you design this from a high level or low level, offering the pre-engineering services, which we certainly can do through our partner relationships, or providing you with a list of certified contractors. If you're thinking about doing a fiber deployment, please again engage us and we can certainly help you walk through this process.
Awesome.
So a little bit long-winded of an answer, but if we kind of brought this back into focus, right, and we started talking about the viaPhoton next generation fiber solutions, Keith, can you give me an overview of your HyperReach and your HyperAccess products and how they can work to enhance data center connectivity?
Sure. We can talk about. So we have several solutions. These are two of the ones we're going to talk about today. And I first want to say, anyone wants more information, please make sure. I have a SME in our company that I would love to get anyone in the phone with. He'll talk your ear to death, but he is the best when it comes to anything data center driven. So, and for those who don't know, we do two sides of our house. We have an outside plant side, which is everything encompassing that's outside or in a building somewhere that's not a data center driven. So these products here, HyperReach and HyperAccess, kind of fall underneath our data center side of our house. Mm-hmm. HyperReach, you've got there it is. You've got a slide pulled up. This product here is a product we designed many years ago to help in those environments. One, where you're trying to pull in data to a data center that you already have built. Maybe racks are already out there and you need to get things to them without pulling in a raw fiber, or you need more capacity. So maybe you just have a couple, stacked with LCs, but you need to change it, but you're not going to change your entire data center. Or if you're building a brand new data center out and you're looking for ways to save money because of the installation time on this, and I think we're gonna talk a little more in detail about the HyperReach solution. But it's got multiple ways, for example, LCs, SCs, MPOs, or MTPs, they're just two different names of the same product. Cat5 in that module, you'll see on the far right side, those are RJ45s. That module is built at our facility. We build that with terminated all the way to the end on both sides, and that can be pulled through raceways and popped into place, and it's done. So there's no pulling in multiple fiber ends and plugging in the patch panels in the back and then coming around to the front. This is something you just snap in and the install is done.
Nice.
It can be done through raceways utilizing a train, so you can actually hook multiples to it, and it can pull through. So that is sort of the HyperReach solution. Hyper Access is kind of it's been around for a while. We have a solution for that and I don't know if you want to go down. I think you have a slide for it as well. There we go. So this is more of a 1U to 4U rack system where you might have a type of a modules that we're filling that we send to you, and you're pulling in whether it be a fiber trunk like you're seeing there, this connector out on both sides, or it could have a fiber connectivity on one side and raw fiber on the other, and you're splicing it into the back of some type of a tray that we have for you there that then pops into your rack. Like I said, it can be 1U to 4U. This here, nothing super special. It's cool. We can do different things with it, but it's really our HyperReach, which we took from this to the next level. So that's kind of a quick overview. And we do this in single mode, multi-mode. You see blue and yellow fibers. Just for those that don't know, the colors mean something. Yellow being single mode, the aqua being a multi-mode fiber. So it tells us things. And one thing I like to tell folks, on the cell side, when you're talking to folks on the phone about connectivities and types of fibers, going back to our configurator, we also have a configurator for our inside plant, for our data center side. That is a great tool set for someone to go to and learn. I don't know whether they buy or not from you or I, it's the place where they can use and learn. It's open to the world. So I use it daily. But it can go there and you can see the different types of connectors. You can see the hyper access. You can see the solutions and learn, okay, this might be something I want to bring in, or this might be something I want to talk to someone about. So how do I learn more about this solution? So that's kind of just a quick overview of the HyperReach and hyper access.
Nice, nice. I think it's really helpful and a great opportunity to learn. Again, I've used that configurator as well. So in terms of installation and scalability, what are some key advantages for the HyperReach?
So this one, do me a favor and flip to back up to the screen that you were at a while ago. So that way folks can see. So this here sends itself to a lot of savings for installation. So for example, you're like I said earlier, you're pulling into a data center that you already have, and you already have the rack there, and you need to increase the capacity you're pulling in. But you're building a new data center out, for example. Most of the times they're pulling in fiber trunks with either LCs on one end. Some of them are a lot of times MPOs. Some are a lot of times might be just raw fiber, right, where they're going to splice in. And our HyperReach solution, all of those different modules you see there do something different. For example, there is one in there for splicing. So if they've already got a fiber ran and they need to, they're at a rack and they want to splice, we have a splice tray inside of one of these modules. They can splice and then populate it right in. Done. So very simple to do. MPOs, we have one that has MPO connection on the back, plug it in the back, and you have all your LCs on the front. So it's saving time is what we're trying, our goal. The other thing we're trying to do here with the HyperReach is we manufacture it at our facility, which means it's got clean fiber. You don't have to worry about doing any testing on site. They're all pre-tested for you. We have inside of our connectors, there's actually flaps dust flaps that pop down to keep the dust out of there. we try to do as much as we can of facilities, so your folks have to do a little less, anything they can. And I think I sent you, if you have it still, there should be on, maybe go 3 down, you should have a use case or a case study. We have a customer, can't be named, but this is a case study they did for us. We reduced their labor by 83%. I'm gonna let that resonate a second.
That's a big number.
That is a huge number.
Yeah.
And today's world with AI and hyperscale and all these data centers being built, it's all about speed. If anybody's watched the news lately, you've seen, even Trump's talking about how quick they want data centers built. Speed is it. And so in that, cost savings, and cost savings is labor. We've helped do that. Density, we've done 50% increase in the same area. Now, that's important too, because of footprint size, right? So if you can build now a bigger data center, same footprint you had before, but now you're getting 50% more increased density. That is huge. So hopefully that'll cut down on how many data centers they have to have, right? If let's say your labor, you've got new labor coming into the force. You don't have to do a ton of training on this. This is easily pulled through raceways, already done. These the bullets, we like to call it, if you look at that image there, that bullet as actually snaps on around it, the hyperreach, and it can be pulled through raceways, and you can have 10 to 12 behind it pulling through a raceway. They're designed to go through raceways and down to the top of the racks. We also have the standard hyperreach that on the front has a little nose clone that goes onto the front, and that also can be hooked to and pulled as well if you don't have utilizing the bullet. So all this we do in-house is all to help increase capacity and save your labor time overall.
Nice.
If you want, there is a slide I sent you, and we can just briefly talk through it. I think you may want to go up. There we go. This one here is actually, we kind of show how our hyperreach is against our competitors out there in the market. You can see density-wise, we have a capacity that we can get to 3,456 connectors in a 1 RU rack. That is a huge number. Our nearest competitor is 864. So, or excuse me, 2,304. I was reading the wrong one. So that capacity, once again, increases. So you have a smaller footprint, more capacity in that same area. We try, our DB. That's another thing I think I mentioned earlier, but I'm going to mention again. When you're connecting a fiber, every connection you have, you're losing DB, right? And a lot of these hyperscales, data centers, they have a minimal they're allowed to have. This helps keep that minimal to very low. And because you're not having to do anything, we do it at the factory.
Nice.
Hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it did perfectly. Perfectly, thank you. So staying on the product side of the house, you have a product called viaPhoton Fisher, which I believe is an intelligent backup power solution. Can you talk a little bit about how that can enhance uptime for customers and network reliability?
Sure. So Fisher is a new solution for us. We've been working on it for a while. It is a 100 amp service that is modular based, which means that you can stack it up to 500 amps. This is a 48 volt solution for towers, WISP, whomever, that need that backup and that safety in mind. Now, we know there's other solutions out there, but our goal was to make a product that was different than anything else out there. And we did. Took a little longer than we anticipated, but we have a solution that is far and none above anything else out in the market. It allows you, first of all, we have more cells inside our solution. We have things that these are simple things that most don't think about, but you got to have in lithium. There's heat pad built into these that are monitored by multiple heat sensors across of it, so that if there's a temperature drop, it can go up, because as we all know, lithium can be a little finicky in the cold weather. Those are built into the feature. It has standard SNMP built into this to the Fisher, out of the ready to go, plug and play. We have touchscreens on our primary solution that manages all of the secondaries below, that is accessible through an app for yourself remotely, or of course on site through the touchscreen. We get a 5-year warranty. We have a different operating, since we have extra cells, that actually increases our up to 58 volt capacity, which actually helps to level things out. We do have level loading that's built into our system that's a little different. If you've, when the battery drains itself and you're plugging up, or when it's plugged up and ready to go power, it starts to charge back. Instead of it just charging one battery full and going to the next and going to the next, it does level loads. Kind of think of your ice trays in your freezer. When you put water in and you shake it out and it levels out, we do the same thing when it comes for our battery charging for the Fisher.
I like that.
Yeah, it's simple things like that. But what that does is it allows the batteries to last longer and longer, okay? We include a section for just to plug into that gives you an auxiliary power. That's by itself, that is treated differently. What I mean by that is, let's say you've got this plugged up at a site and you've got your, we'll use Wi-Fi security. You don't want that to go down at the site. You have it up, or a router. You can actually plug it to the auxiliary, and what this battery system does, the BMS in here will do that. Let's say your battery's been running for 12 hours, 14 hours, whatever, and it's coming down. You can set inside there, it says at 20% battery, I want everything else to shut up, but I got to keep this up. So it will switch everything else off, and it will keep that one item that you wanted up to stay up. So we think of little things like that, and we have some hidden things in there that might be coming out in firmware updates in the future that are pretty cool. But the goal here is to provide a solution, a backup battery solution that is top notch for our customers.
Nice. And I think that's something that could be used with a lot of our day-to-day deployments. I think that's a great solution.
Yes.
So I'd ask one of my final questions from your end, and I know you don't have a magical ball, and I know you don't want to give away internal R&D secrets, but from your perspective, what innovations do you see coming down the pipe in the near future that would help support next generation broadband?
Well, so I'm in sales, and there's a little creature under this desk biting my foot right now, telling me to be careful. But so there's things like you said, we can't talk about because we do a lot of patents, right? So when doing those, you have to be cautious. But we are a forward-thinking innovation company. I was just at corporate this week. Spent a ton of time in our lab with our engineers, and we have a lot of engineers. And there's a lot of things that they are working on that I wish I could talk about. But there are some new things that I think that is okay. For example, our OHE solution. We're on our second or third generation, I think, and we're continuously trying to find ways to make it better, make it easier for our end users. Looking at different ways to do things in the data center, for example. We have a thing we call a speed spool or waterfall or speed spool that will allow our installers who buy coil or cable for the front to patch panels or whatever it may be. They need ways to pull this off quickly and easily without having to have a multi-man system there. We have a new solution we are working on for that. We have some new design the cables we're looking for that we're going to possibly be coming out with. So there's a ton of things working, and what I tell everyone that I talk to is that think of us as more of an engineering company and come to me with a request, because there's always a way to make a better mousetrap, and we love doing those things. Majority of our products came from that, believe it or not. Our customers have told us their pain points. Our engineers will go on site with me to visit our customer and listen, learn, and then come back. We've got, I don't know, probably 15 or so 3D printers in our lab where we're constantly printing stuff for testing. We can go to market faster than anyone else. We have proven it and done it over and over and over again with our solutions. And we're not afraid to fail the first time, because I mean, that's how you learn. So be on the lookout. In the near future, you're going to see some really cool stuff coming from us that I will be able to talk about maybe our next time.
And that's personally why I like working with you and your company so much, is you guys are very nimble and you go where the opportunities are. So I think you said that perfectly. If customers have customizable opportunities that fit the mold, you're able to move in a lot of great directions. So very much looking forward to seeing what's next. And then as soon as that's out, stay tuned because Winncom will announce that, and that's something we have here available through our portfolio of products.
Cool. So I think final question from me of today, we're running out of time. How can Winncom support potential subgrantees in meeting their state BEAD, or the broadband equity access deployment requirements?
Another very good question. So I'm going to show a slide here, and I think one of the things we talked a lot about was creating resources that provided educational content. And this is a fantastic example of something we've created here at Winncom. So there's a lot of things going on this particular slide, and it's not interactive, but what we will do is we'll share this portal for you. If you haven't had a chance, please log on. What you can see, first of which, what are the rules? What is Buy America? What is BABA? And what products fit under there? What are the exemptions or the waiver? What are the infrastructure de minimis examples? So on that first section, Winncom BEAD overview, we provide what those contacts, what those rules are, and then a hyperlink to the actual PDFs of them. The next important thing is state funding, and every state's different in regards to if or when they will have pre-qualification, when they'll have round 1 funding, when they'll have round 2 funding, what their defined project areas are, what their individual scoring rubrics looks like, what their challenge areas look like. So from this site, you can dig into your individual state. It'll tell you exactly what the next milestone looks like. And then there's some really great hyperlinks that will take you to that state's website. So again, the goal with this is to pull all the information that's all over the place, put it into one concise section, and allow you to go through if it's looking at our product eligibles BEAD products. So what in our eco center, and again, I've used that a couple of times, is eligible for BEAD. On the active side of the house, it could be Nokia, OLTs, ONTs. It could be the fiber solutions. It could be OSP, aerial or burial, or the fiber adjacent accessories. On the exemption products, we talked about Tarana a lot. Tarana is exempt for last mile, so CBRS. It'll talk about the middle mile products, the licensed microwave 611 1823, the millimeter wave 80 gig E-band products. Everything that you'll need to successfully implement, deploy, and then there's a whole compliance piece around that as well. Then we've got some inherent services that we added. And again, I mentioned our goal was to keep things simple. It's also to give you one point of contact through your sales team. And that sales rep has a group of people behind him: engineering, product management, logistics, procurement, all the roles to make this process simple. So as you're looking to deploy or look at a BEAD, we can help you based on your area of concentration, pick the right project areas, identify the right broadband service locations, identify community anchor locations, and then if you're talking fiber, we can help you with high-level, low-level designs. If you're talking fixed wireless, we can do the link budget analysis regarding the middle mile products, and we can do the heat mapping regarding last mile CBRS Tarana. And then as we've talked about using viaPhoton's configurator, we're gonna make sure you've got not only best in breed products, but complete eco center solutions. And then we, again, as a stocking distributor, can site kit this. We can configure this and we can deliver this when and where you need it. So again, just a quick overview, 40,000 foot level of the BEAD program. But again, I want to reiterate, timing is of the essence. If you're going to apply, engage us quickly and earlier. And the last thing is you've got a group of people and vendors behind you to make sure you're successful, and your success is our success. So again, I encourage you, if it's a Tarana application, a BEAD application, engage us and let us be of service.
Awesome.
The last thing I will mention is if you are planning to attend WISP America, We have on that Monday, March 24th, it's from 9:30 to 4. This is a free event for you. We have a bead roadshow. So we have vendors like Nokia, Tarana, viaPhoton will be there, Ceragon will be there, Intercom will be there, Light Links, and we're going to talk about the holistic bead experience. So if you're looking at hybrid proposals, what does that mean on the active side of the house? Passive side, what does that mean for fixed wireless, for infrastructure, and how can we put that entire piece together for you to ensure that not only do you have the highest probability of succeeding, but you're doing it in a cost-effective way. So again, if you are interested, please register. It's a free event. It's part of WISP America. We'll even have WISPA there, Steve Schwarbel, to talk about some of the challenges they're seeing on that financing piece. So again, we look forward to seeing you out there. Engage us if you have any questions or if you're looking to deploy or look at BEAD, please reach out. And the way to reach out can either be bead@winncom.com. My direct email is listed here. And as I mentioned previously, we're going to send out a host of links to the configurator, to our BEAD portal, to our fiber solution page. So use those educational content. And if you have additional questions, Keith and myself are available. Keith, anything you'd like to conclude or add?
No, this has been fun, and I appreciate you inviting me and having me on. This is good, and I look for doing more. And I want to thank everyone that did join us today. These are fun times.
Thanks, Keith. Really appreciate it, and fantastic content today. Thank you, guys.